Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you could tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about Marincess. Yes, I have committed a cardinal sin, and now I am playing a waifu deck. Uh-oh. No, in all honesty, the reason that I'm playing this is because for the Link Festival, this is one of the better decks to play, and it basically plays the same way that Salamangreat would. You basically just make an unaffected monster in this deck with less disruption, but just like more difficult to deal with boss monster, whereas in Salamangreat you have more disruption but an easier to deal with boss monster. It's very similar in nature, and it's literally the yin to the yang. Salamangreat is fire, this deck is water, this deck is a bunch of waifus, the other deck is a bunch of animals, which are not waifus. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's hop into this. Obviously this is for the Link Festival, and yeah, let's just hop into this. So we are playing for the Marincesses. Obviously we're playing Marincess Blue Tang. This card is the combo starter. On normal or special, you get to send a Marincess from the deck to the grave, and if it's sent to the graveyard, you can excavate the top 3 cards and add a Marincess card, which is very nice. Or I should say for Link material, if it's sent to the grave for Link material. Then we have Marincess Seahorse and Marincess Spring Girl, which both special summon themselves from the hand, one at a Link point and one at, by banishing a Marincess card, or Marincess monster. Next up, we have 2 Pasquillas. This card can special summon a monster from hand on summon, and you can banish it from the graveyard, except the turn that it was sent to the graveyard, to add back a Marincess spell or trap from your deck, or from your grave to your hand. Then we are playing 1 Mandarin. This card also kind of special summons itself from hand and grave, as long as you control a Link Arrow and 2 Marincess monsters. Next up, we have the spells. We are playing 3 Dive. This is basically Monster Reborn, as well as a E-Telly, kind of, just not as a quick play. As long as the Battle Ocean is on the field, it can summon from deck. And then we have Battle Ocean. We have 2 of this. This is more or less what you want to be ending on, but it is very easily searchable throughout the combo, and you have quite a few ways to see it. But because we are playing Desires, I wanted to play multiple of this card. All Marincess monsters gain 200 attack. Also, each one gains 600 attack for each Marincess card equipped to it. Monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart as material are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Just straight up unaffected. When you link summon a Marincess Link monster, or a Marincess monster to the extra monster zone, you can equip up to 3 Marincess Link monsters with different names from your graveyard to that Link summoned monster. This is very good because it allows us to make something like an Aqua Argonaut into a 4,000 unaffected beat stick, basically. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything other than that on the opponent's turn. I guess it technically is also a negate by special summoning out a Marincess monster equipped to it. So it's not terrible, but it's not the greatest as well. Yeah, then we also have 2 Marincess Wave. This is basically a better imperm. It makes your monsters unaffected. It can be activated from the hand, and it's just imperm. Yep, that's it. Moving on to the rest of the cards, we are playing 1 Effect Veiler, triple Maxi, the triple Ash Blossom, double Nibiru, and triple Imperm for our hand traps. There's a lot of room for hand traps in this deck, because the deck is basically a 1-card combo. As long as you see a Blue Tang, or even some other cards like a Spring Girl or what have you, you're able to basically do your full combo, which is very nice. Next up, we have for our spells, the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, because Dear Lanta, I played against a set 5 pass deck, and this would have been very nice. Double Pot of Desire, just to see additional cards. We have triple Signet Mining, the double Called By, and the 1 Crossout. As for the extra deck, we are playing only Link monsters, because of course this is for the Link event, which honestly I hate. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna say this straight out. The fact that it is basically ranked makes me never want to play this ever, because it's just awful. Thank you. Next up, we have a triple Marincess Blue Slug. We have the double Sea Angel, a double Coral Anemone. We have 1 Crystal Heart. We could probably be playing 2, but the thing is we can actually shuffle this back with something like a Coral Anemone being sent to the graveyard. We have a double Splash Mage, 1 Marble Rock, 1 Coral Triangle, 1 Wonder Heart, because I needed something else to put in here. We have the 1 Great Bubble Reef and 1 Aqua Argonaut. If you can't end on Aqua Argonaut, the better option is to end on Bubble Reef. with potentially a Battle Ocean or without it. But yeah, this one is just kind of the best one to end on if you're not able to make an unaffected Aqua Argonaut. This card adds a card back from the hand. This one searches out a spell from your deck to your hand, which grabs up the Battle Ocean. We have Coral Anemone, which special summons back a monster, as well as returns a monster to the hand if it's sent to the graveyard. We have Crystal Heart, which makes your monsters unaffected. That's basically it. We have Splash Mage, which is Splash Mage. We have Marbled Rock, which also adds back a monster or a card from your grave to your hand. We have Coral Triangle, which pitches a water monster in order to add a Marincess wave. We have Wonder Heart, which is doing its best. I don't know why it's in here. It's in here. We have the Great Bubble Reef, which can banish a water monster to draw a card, which could potentially draw into something like an additional interaction. This is during the standby phase, during each standby phase. Also, you can send a water monster from your hand to the graveyard in order to special summon one of the banished monsters, which is nice because you can even special summon out one of your link monsters, and then it is not negated or anything like that. So this is why you would probably end on it. It's similar in nature to Heat Soul, not quite the same, but similar in nature. And then we have the 1 Aqua Argonaut. This card is very good. If it's in the extra monster zone, your opponent's monsters cannot attack any monster except this one, meaning if it is summoned using the Marincess Battle Ocean and the Crystal Heart, it's unaffected and your opponent has to attack it, much like a Dupe Frog. Also, you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can target a water monster you control and a card your opponent controls, return them to the hand. So you could just like freely special summon out the Seahorse and then return it to the hand and then return something else to the hand. Pretty nice. And then during your opponent's turn, when a spell trap card is activated or effect is activated on the field, you can special summon one of your Marincess monsters equipped to this card and negate that activated effect. It just negates the effect, it doesn't destroy, but it's still nice. You also get a monster on your side of the field if you need to. So that's the deck. Let's hop into the replays and see how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going first with a rather interesting hand. So we have the Pasquilias as well as Spring Girl, so we're going to start with that, and then we have 3 hand traps, pretty nice. So we're going to link off the Pasquilias. This is actually a mistake. I'm supposed to link off the Spring Girl instead of the Pasquilias. That was just a mistake from my part. So let's see how I recover from this. We're going to go for the Blue Slug to add back the Pasquilias. Pascalis, I don't care. Anyway, we're gonna go Spring Girl into the Sea Angel. Sea Angel is going to then add it to our hand, as well as the Spring Girl is going to activate its effect to Chain Block. And as you can see, the Ash Blossom does come down, so we at the very least get our Battle Ocean. My opponent is then going to actually go for the Phantasmal Dragon, or Fantastical Dragon Phantasmal, which, okay. I'm just gonna let that resolve, because why not? I kind of want to keep the Ash in case there's something more dangerous. Anyway, we're going to go for the Marincess Battle Ocean here. We're going to then link those 2 off into a Coral Anemone. And then we will use the effect of Coral Anemone to bring back the Spring Girl. We're then going to go for the Battle Ocean here and then link these 2 off into a Coral Triangle. Coral Anemone will add back the Spring Girl, which we haven't used its effect to special summon itself, but banishing a Marincess monster. Also, we're going to go for the Battle Ocean here. And the reason for this is because, realistically, I couldn't have gone into an unaffected Aqua Argonaut. So I figured, hey, let's actually just keep the Spring Girl in the hand, and let's instead go for the Coral Triangle, pitching the Pascalis in order to add the Marincess Wave. And then we'll have the Nibiru, we'll have Ash, we'll have Marincess Wave, and we'll have Imperm. Seems pretty good to me. So, yeah, we're going to add the Spring Girl to hand. We are going to go for the Coral Triangle here. We're going to add the Marincess Wave. We're going to set the Imperm, and we are going to pass. I'm still feeling pretty good. We're not unaffected, but we are pretty large. We have the Imperm. We have the... okay, well, there goes everything. We're going to Imperm just in case they decide to put something in this column. Yeah, I don't know. Might as well. But at this point, they could basically just walk over our... Coral Triangle, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. We're going to go for the Coral Triangle to add back the Battle Ocean, and my opponent will then activate the Foolish Burial. Seeing the kit come down, I go, okay, I do need to negate the kit, so we're going to go and Ash Blossom that. I don't want them to get more materials into the graveyard, because if they do, that means that they can, continue to play the game, so we don't want that. My opponent proceeds to the battle phase, walks over my monster, and there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. However, Coral Triangle has a second effect. This is also why we ended on it. Oh, cool, a second Nibiru. Coral Triangle can banish itself in order to special summon out 3 link materials worth of monsters. So we're going to special summon out the Coral Anemone as well as the Blue Slug, and then we're going to special summon out the Pascalis. Pascalis will then special summon out the Spring Girl, and I will do it correctly this time using the Spring Girl in order to go into Blue Slug. Blue Slug will then add back the Spring Girl, and we're going to chain the Spring Girl effect in order to mill some cards. If you're wondering what that was, yep, that's what's happening. We're just milling cards. We also technically burn. It doesn't really matter. That effect very rarely comes up. The milling cards literally does nothing. Here, it happened to mill a Seahorse, which is nice, but we're not really going to add that back, but hey, it's there. Anyway, we're going to go for the Marincess dive here, and then we're going to link off these 2 in order to go into a Marincess Crystal Heart. Now, I realize I kind of still need to get rid of everything, because if I don't put the monster in the extra monster zone, the Crystal Heart as well as the Battle Ocean isn't really going to do anything. So we're going to quickly link off everything in order to go into an Aqua Argonaut. And we will then activate the Coral Anemone in order to add the Seahorse. We're also going to activate our Battle Ocean here in order to equip it with 3 different Link monsters. So we're going to equip it with 3 Link monsters and then add back the Seahorse. And then I'm going to go for Dive here. We're going to special summon out the Blue Tank since we haven't used it thus far this entire duel. And we're going to dump the Mandarin. Mandarin is then going to use its effect in order to special summon itself. We're then going to link those 2 off into a Splash Mage because it's funny. And we are going to reveal a second Marincess Wave. Heck yeah, let's add that to our hand as well. We're going to go for the Splash Mage here in order to special summon out the Pascalis in order to go into Marbled Rock. I swear I haven't used I haven't said this name the same way once. Anyway, Marbled Rock is going to add back to our hand the Dive for additional follow-up. We're then going to normal summon the Spring Girl because I can return that card to hand and then special summon the Seahorse and special summon the Spring Girl and kill them. So that's the plan. They're going to dump their kit. Okay, that's fine. Kit will dump the Nerval. Nerval will then add another kit because reasons. Anyway, we're going to special summon out the Seahorse. We're going to use the Spring Girl effect to special summon it out. And at that point, that is well over lethal. So, good game. Alright, and here we are going first once again, and we drew a pretty incredible hand. We got 2 hand traps as well as the Blue Tang and Dive and Spring Girl. So that's pretty nice. We're actually going to go for the Pascalis here because we are going to bring it back off of the Dive in order to special summon out the Spring Girl. So we are going to do that. We're going to then link off the Spring Girl in order to go into Blue Slug. Blue Slug is going to activate to add back the Spring Girl, and we're going to go Spring Girl to mill some cards. What did we end up milling? It doesn't really matter, but cool, Nibiru. Anyway, we're going to go into the Sea Angel here. We're going to go Sea Angel as Chainlink 2 because I'm bad and didn't activate the effects correctly. But yeah, we're going to go for the Blue Tang here, and we will reveal 1, 2, 3. Turns out it's a Blue Tang. Cool. We'll add the Blue Tang to our hand, and then we'll go for the Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone's effect will activate. We'll bring back the Pascalis, and then we will go for the Coral Triangle. We're going to activate the effect in order to add back the Dive. Yeah. And then we will pitch a card in order to get Ghost Ogre. Well, not a whole lot that we can do about that, but we, at the very least, do get to add the Wave to our hand. We're going to banish 1 in order to go for the Spring Girl, and then we're going to go into Splash Mage, so at the very least, we can end on a Link 3. We're going to special summon back the Blue Tang, activate the Battle Ocean, and then link off into Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock will allow us to also add the Spring Girl back to hand as additional follow-up. So we have a 4,500 attack point monster, 2 hand traps, and, well, technically 3 hand traps, but most notably, this Nibiru is not going to do anything unless we get rid of our own monster. So, there's that. I'm going to let my opponent go through their Evil Twin line, but I do need to basically stop them, if I can, before they get to the Link 4. If the Link 4 comes out, they can very easily deal with the Marincess Battle Ocean, so we do need to stop that. Out comes the Leela after they called by, obviously, the effect there, because of course they do. We are going to Marincess Battle Wave Marincess Wave the Leela so that they don't get anything. Turns out didn't matter because they had all of the follow-up that they needed. So I'm going to Nibiru here and just wipe their field so that I can actually, play the game. We're going to add back the Blue Tang off of our Coral Anemone that was sent to the graveyard. So, yeah, there's that. We draw the Maxi, which is quite impressive, and we're going to go for the Blue Tang in order to dump the Mandarin. We're then going to add back the Marincess Wave off of our Pascalis, and then we are going to go for the Spring Girl in order to special summon itself. We're then going to link off into the Blue Slug, and we will activate the Blue Slug effect in order to shuffle back the Marincess Coral Triangle. If you're wondering why Coral Triangle didn't activate, or why we couldn't use it, because if only your monster controls a monster can we activate it. So the Nibiru prevented us from doing that. We're then going to add the Pascalis off of our Blue Slug, or no, our Blue Tang. And then we're going to special summon out the Mandarin in order to go into Anemone. We're going to go for the Anemone here in order to bring back the blue tang, and then we will go for a second coral anemone, and we are going to activate the effect of two of our monsters, the coral anemone as well as the spring girl, which will then add back the spring girl, which we have not used to special summon. Then we are going to activate, or maybe we have, I don't remember. Anyway, we're going to special summon back using the dive in order to go into Crystal Heart, and then we will go into Aqua Argonaut. So now we have the Aqua Argonaut that is unaffected and 4,300 attack points. And we have the double Marincess wave as well as the Max C. So at this point, the game is basically over, and I drop the Max C to basically tell my opponent, hey, surrender, please. Dear Lanta, just end this game. Just stop. Turns out they're not going to. I'm going to let them go through the motions because, again, not really worried about anything here. We can just Marincess wave at basically any point and stop them from playing the game. So they're going to go for the second Kiss-a-Kill here, and I'm like, okay, sure. Anyway, no. Hopefully they don't draw into something. Turns out they didn't. They drew a Maxi. Fantastic. Good game. Alright, so how does this deck do going second? Well, we drew Nibiru, so let's find out. Honestly, that is it. We just drew the Nibiru. And turns out it'll be fine. We're playing against Adagnister. So they're going to go for their whole Adagnister combo. I'm not even going to look at what is happening, because why would I? It's so boring. It's so lame. It's so... Huh? I'm awake, I promise. Transcode? Yeah, transcode. Let's go, transcode, woo. Alright, anyway, activate transcode. And I Nibiru. This isn't the greatest Nibiru, and you'll see why in a second. My opponent's gonna go for the Idle Reborn, because I don't know if I was paying attention to know if they had that, so there's that. They're gonna go and activate their second Reborn, because apparently this deck doesn't need just one Reborn. It doesn't need two Reborns, it needs three. Why? Anyway, they're going to link all three of these off into Dark Templar, and then they are going to activate the effect in order to special summon out a another one. Then they're going to go for Link Karibo. I don't know why they went for Link Karibo, but they did. So there's that. Anyway, they're going to go for Splash Mage here. They're going to activate the effect of Splash Mage to bring out the Achichi, and there's the 4,000 attack point Adagnister. Now, I know what you're saying. How can we out this? And it's simple. We just do our combo. Cool. Nibiru. On time. Fantastic. Love to see it. Anyway, Blue Tang is going to dump the Seahorse, and we're going to go for the Blue Slug. Here, Blue Slug activate. We're going to add the Seahorse, and we're going to activate the Blue Tang in order to go 1, 2, 3. And this was when I was playing a Silent Angler. I took out that card because it's terrible. Anyway, we're going to add the Spring Girl to our hand, as well as the Seahorse. We're going to then special summon the Seahorse, and we are going to link it off into Sea Angle. We're going to activate the effect of the Sea Angel, and that goes through, which means we get Battle Ocean, which means we win the duel. Anyway, we're going to go into the Coral Anemone, and out comes the Nibiru. This is literally the worst Nibiru I've ever seen, but okay. Anyway, we're going to add back the Blue Tank, since this is the only real thing that's worth adding back here, and we're going to go for the Spring Girl. We're then going to activate the effect of our Battle Ocean, which will then allow us to special summon out the Pascalis, which will then special summon out the Blue Tang. We're then going to go into Splash Mage, that's right, Splash Mage, and we are going to mill a card. We're going to special summon out the Spring Girl off of the Splash Mage. We're going to link both of those off into a Crystal Heart. Then we're going to link both of those off into an Aqua Argonaut. Yay. And I know what you're saying, why have you not activated the Pot of Desires that is currently in your hand to activate it? Well, Crossout Designator, that's why. I wanted to keep the things in grave if I could. So, yeah, there's that. In case they had something like an Imperm or a Nibiru. Granted, I drew the second Nibiru, so there's that. So, yeah, we'll just activate the Pot of Desires here and set the Crossout Designator, and now we have Maxi and Nibiru. Anyway, out comes the Maxi. My opponent is going to reveal a card. They're going to grab the Achichi, and they're going to activate the effect of their Fighting Spirit. We're going to negate that and go for the Coral Anemone. They're going to go for the Achichi here. Sure. That's all good and dandy. They're going to go for the Hiati. We're going to draw into Spring Girl. They're going to go for the Nightmare Unicorn. Realize that it's not going to do anything, and concede. So, all in all, is this deck better than Salamangreat? The answer to that is no, not even close. Salamangreat has Gazelle. Gazelle is an absolutely insane card that is a free special summon while also doing the same thing that Blue Tang does, except better. Because it's also a special summon. Freely. Also, the deck overall just has more special summons. and it kind of does the same thing, but it can also go through Update Jammer into access code. As you can see, we don't have access code. Why is that? Because there are so many things that lock you into waters. So many things that just prevent you from going into things like access code and the like. Well, sure, we can go into Splash Mage to bring back other things, and we can go into the Aqua Argonaut and what have you. It's not difficult to OTK, but in comparison, there's a high chance that we give our opponent an extra turn. Also, dealing with something like an unaffected Aqua Argonaut is actually pretty easy. You pop the Battle Ocean, and then you're free to do whatever you want to this card. It basically doesn't do anything. So, yeah, it's not exactly the most difficult of things to out. Whereas having something like an Omni Negate through a counter trap is a little bit better. So, yeah, all in all, while this deck is still good, I would say that Salamangreat's a little bit better. And I would say that Salamangreat is probably one of the best decks in the current Link Festival. Sure, you could play like an OTK strategy such as Crusadia or what have you, but all in all, the event sucks anyway, so who cares? Am I right? Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like this very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye! Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.